I'm going to jerk off right here, dude. Anyway, where were we?
I think Alice Cooper.
Alex Cooper. Naturally. So I did the Kevin Clancy show. I had like a long talk with myself about it because the reason I said like one of the biggest bags ever is because it's fucking historic. It is like a landmark watershed moment for. I mean, she's definitely got to be the biggest bag female wise, right?
I would guess so, yeah.
You know, I can't think of anybody else on the list as far as like a content creator who was the face of something. I'm sure there's business people maybe, but so like there was the part of me that was a raging, bitter, jealous person over it. And then there's the part of me that like I love podcasting and like believed in this whole medium. Like when Dave said it wasn't going to be anything, I was like sticking to my guns like, no, yes it is. So then to see that someone like in what, like 3 years? She started like
probably 3 or 4
years ago. Like you can go from literally unknown to $60 million. Like that's like a win for the whole industry. You know what I mean?
I think there was a lot of tension or jealousy. Let's call it what it was.
Yeah,
A lot
definitely.
of jealousy in the Barstool office about it.
Sure.
Which I did not understand for a second.
Well, the thing about it, I mean, I definitely understand it. Jealousy, I understand.
To be jealous about this, and almost everyone in this office to be jealous about that, like you have to be delusional.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Like,
well, here's what I thought. Like, there's a few things at work.
Like there were a lot of people. I was in the bullpen, like when the variety thing announced. And basically everyone was like, "Holy shit!" And like everyone was yelling like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What are you all talking about?"
The number
it's one of the biggest podcasts in the world
ever. Yeah, and that's just
what
a
could you
fact.
possibly be jealous about?
Well, I think
on Spotify last year.
number 5 on Spotify,
yeah,
including besides like Rogan and then like the NPR ones and the things that like the numbers.
like
that
so
just
like
don't...
what is the surprise for?
Okay, here's what it is, and I'm basically playing devil's advocate because I'm not playing devil's advocate. I went through all these emotions, so like. The number is just staggeringly high. And from a business point of view, I don't quite understand it. Like even the Rogan deal, I don't quite get $100 million a year. So you have $120 million a year wrapped up in Rogan and Alex Cooper. I would argue, and I'm an idiot, so maybe I'm dead wrong, but I would argue that this is the industry to do the total opposite. That you can find small podcasts that have smaller audiences, but that podcast means the world to them, you know? So if Spotify's main thing right now is getting people off of Apple and coming over to Spotify, right? And so they're doing it with the big names. So that'll probably work just because they are the biggest names. But I would think it's better to spread that money around and find like, all right, this is a smaller podcast, but they're going to bring like 100,000 people here that, you know, maybe not even 100,000's high, like 25,000 people who are like, and it's a niche cooking show. But those people fucking love this person and will follow this person over to Spotify. And if you do that with a zillion other podcasts that are just way cheaper, you can lure those fans over. It's the one industry where you really don't necessarily need star power to get loyalty. You find niches that have I
I agree with that, but also I think if you can get both, which is what Call Her Daddy is, I think might as well get both. Get a massive number and diehard loyalty.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on. I think that the Daddy Gang is wildly loyal, but then I wonder how much of her, let's say like 2 million listeners are the diehards or the people who are just like tuning in because they heard of this like cultural phenomenon. I think the same reason why we said like the Obama Springsteen podcast is stupid and a waste of money because podcasting is all just about like random people with personality. I'm applying that same logic to this, where it's like you don't need to go spend the most money to if your idea is to acquire listeners.
But that was because the Obama
get the most expensive listeners. Go get the least expensive listeners, but they're still coming over.
I think Obama Springsteen was silly because Obama and Springsteen aren't podcasters. So why would you listen to a podcast with them? Whereas Alice Cooper's a podcaster.
Yeah.
So you listen to her podcast.
Sure.
Like Obama and Springsteen are obviously exceptionally interesting people, and I'm sure the podcast was pretty interesting.
Right.
But I would never in a
do
million listen to it.
Yeah. I think it's like I would rather take that $20 million and spread it around to a lot of different podcasts that are cheaper and still have diehard loyal fans that will now just be Spotify listeners. Like, I don't think they care whether it's a Call Her Daddy listener or, podcast 123 over here, as long as Spotify has ears listening.
I guess I don't know enough about podcasting. Like, I don't know. I know that those podcasts exist. I couldn't name you one of them. I know there are little podcasts with not big followings, but with loyal followings.
Yeah,
but I don't know of them.
I mean,
I'm sure Spotify could find it.
All of them over here. You know what I mean? There are people here who would love Bob Fox's podcast, and they're like, I'm going to listen to Bob Fox wherever they go, and you give that person a fraction of the money, but you get all of their listeners, and you do that all over the place. That would make more sense to me. It's like, if it's a place where you can find diehard listeners for cheaper, I would do that. Then overpay for the superstar to bring their listeners over. Now,
I don't know. That also sounds like I'm just applying it to sports. That also sounds like we don't need Kyrie, KD, and fucking James Harden. We can just get a bunch of guys who they do their role, and that team doesn't win the championship.
Yeah, but it's almost like it's not that though, because the goal is just to have listeners. It's not like a quality of listener. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can just add up all of the listeners, and it's I just can't. I guess it boils down to, I can't imagine $20 million worth of listeners.
I don't know what it is. I think most of it's probably not. I don't know most of it. I'm sure, I have not done. You've done kind of this on your own show, so you've done a much deeper dive in it. When they were all talking about the $60 million deal yesterday, I was obsessed with a different number. It takes Rick Ross 5 hours to cut his lawn. That's all I was thinking about.
What is this? What is that?
He's got a big John Deere tractor, and he says it takes him 5 hours to cut his lawn. And everyone was like, 60 million, 60 million. And I was sitting there staring at my computer watching Rick Ross and his John Deere tractor. Yeah, and I was like 5 hours to cut his fucking lawn. That was the number that blew me away.
Where was that?
Josh quotes me yesterday.
200 acres.
Right in the middle of it, and I was like,
Christ.
you guys can fucking argue about whatever you want to argue about, what you fucking think you deserve, but I am gonna focus on this video of Rick Ross.
And he cuts it himself?
Yeah, he cuts himself. Big old John Deere tractor. This kid's out there for 5 hours, Kevin, cutting his lawn.
How often does he do it, too?
I don't know,
By the time you get to the end, the other shit's growing back out.
Fucking 5. That's not even a fucking John Deere tractor. That's like a fucking corn harvester, and motherfucking Rick Ross just out there rolling around for hours.
He's just smoking. He's like, I don't listen to any music. I don't do anything. I just chill out here and listen to my thoughts. I love Rick Ross.
Yeah. That was what I was wrapped up in yesterday.
Yeah, that's crazy. About 5
Yeah, you honestly see what time the Variety article dropped, and you probably sent that within minutes of the Variety article, because I could hear everyone arguing, and I almost interrupted everyone to be like, "Look, I know you guys are big into this 60 million thing, but I got some number that's really gonna blow your fucking minds."
I think the reason why. And then I think the other side of it is that because it's like a sex show. And I think people get bent out of shape about the fact that it's like you can just...
Oh, but what I was going to say I think it is sorry to interrupt, but I think a lot of the money is also just for the publicity. Like Spotify has, again, they'll own basically a week of free marketing.
I guess it's just when they got that much money to burn. Yeah, I think unless... the amount of money brought in per episode is absolutely astronomical. I think the vast majority of that money is like a sunk cost for just publicity and eyeballs and ears and headlines. But that just seems like a shit ton. But maybe it's not. Maybe Spotify's got like billions to burn, and they're like, fucking whatever, dude. Because if they're looking for the actual return down to the penny, I don't think you're gonna get that. Like Dave was saying that Barstool could have made a relatively competitive offer. That to me is insane. I can't fathom that we started where we started and now we're a company that could be throwing around athlete type money. Mm-hmm. When you start talking about millions per year publicly, that's like an athlete.
Yeah.
Like when Guy Fieri signed a $80 million extension, I was like, this is what we talk about, free hitters. This is what we talk about, the guy who's scoring champs. But Barstool needs to see the return. It's like you make this much money, but you bring in this much on ads, and so I think we're still at that level. Mm-hmm. But I guess for someone like Alex, you want the prestige, you want the name, you want the cachet of it. So that's probably where Spotify's thinking their money is. I'm just saying if you're thinking about it from a return on investment, I can't imagine it like adding back up to 60 million over the next 3 years. But maybe there's.
You're not thinking of subscribers too, because you have to subscribe to Spotify. So like, think about the percentage of Apple listeners that have to subscribe now just to Spotify. That can make up a decent chunk of it by itself. And then on top of that, you probably have ad splits as well.
But you got to subscribe. Like she's gonna be behind like a paywall.
Well, Spotify is
You
paywall.
have to pay for Spotify.
You do?
Yeah.
I thought it was for no ads.
It's like
Yeah.
$7.
Yeah. I
yeah,
guess
you
you're
can
right.
just listen to Call Her Daddy if you want. You don't
Yeah, I
have to pay to
forgot
listen
about
to
that.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I assume you would go in for the whole entire thing though at that point. If you're listening to Spotify.
I don't know. I feel there's a lot of people who probably just listen here and there for.
I would just
for
like
free.
to point out that Josh is barely speaking in the mic and nobody's yelling.
I was about to.
It was.
Yeah. You've
we
done
were-
it once. You've done it 60,000
Yeah.
times.
I actually, now that I edit the podcast, it's really annoying, and I apologize to everybody.
Yep. There you go. But I think ultimately everything with Call Her Daddy will always boil down to people are mad that like this girl can hop on a mic and just talk about sucking a guy's dick and call it a gluck gluck, and she's more successful than 99.99% of people who have ever lived. And it's bullshit for people around Barstool to be upset about it, because it's not like anybody here is like, you know, writing like fantastic
and also
clever shit. It's like we're all up here just bullshitting, and she just does it on a better, more successful level.
And
We're all
I
talking about
think
sex
that
and shit.
we've
We're
all talked about it before. We're like, I think it takes a talent to be able to do it. Where it's like, there was a tweet, and I think Dan quote tweeted this probably a few weeks ago, where it was like someone being like, you don't understand the time it takes to put into investigative podcasts or whatever, and the script writing and the research and the this and the editing and the producing and the blah 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 and the blah blah blah, and it's like, and it's just bullshit. Some people can just throw on a mic and bullshit,
Yeah.
and be successful. And it's like, well, yeah, comedy podcasts, you have to have improvisation. I'm gonna leave.
Improvisation.
Improvisational skills. And like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what a
it's
comedy
different.
podcast is. You don't need to do all this fucking research and all this
I was
bullshit.
gonna
You
say.
need to have a brain that has synapses that can fire and be funny. That's what you need.
Yeah.
And
You can be able to-
she
you
can
gotta
do
do it
that.
on the
She
fly.
can be
You
funny.
gotta-
She can be funny. She can be interesting. And so yeah, she just pops it on. She
Or
goes.
also like the value of like she's brave enough to say what most girls are.
Yeah.
not
Oh,
brave enough to say.
dude, there's so many girls now who are like, I should have just been sucking cock or whatever, saying it. And like, and I don't mean, I mean in the world. I don't mean at Barstool. And like, I don't know. Yeah. Give it a
Yeah.
try.
Also,
see
and-
if you're fucking hot enough and funny enough and good enough at
That's-
describing how to suck a dick.
That's the thing. It's like, it's not like, oh, I should have been sucking dick. It's you should have been sucking dick and been willing to talk about it in front of your family and your friends and the world and be confident enough to be like, yeah, that's fucking me. That's why she's successful, because it's girls who are going like, oh wow, she talks like we talk, but like to the whole fucking world. But I mean, I definitely had feelings of like, oh man, like I've been here so much longer and like grinding so much harder. And
See, I didn't. I did. Because I mean, she's just more successful than us.
right, well, that's what I
Like-
mean. So like, and then, but I there was a point where it was like, oh, she's doing like really well, like fuck that. And then I found out how well she was doing, and it's like, oh, well, now it's just undeniable. It's not like it's a fluke or a flash in the pan. She's just making so much more money than she, you know, she's always been paid what she deserves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or,
Right.
or underpaid. She's either been underpaid or fairly paid the whole time. She's never been overpaid. And then when this happened, I realized it was a joke that I ever even tried to compare myself to her. Like I said on the other show, I was like, it's like being like, LeBron, why don't you play in my men's rec league? It's like, oh no, I'm so far above all of you. And that's not like, you know, cocky or arrogant. It's just like, yeah, we're not on the same level, dude. You know what I mean? Like we this is crazy to even compare your show to mine, because it's like talking about the NBA versus, you know, you in your backyard.
I think it's like, and I've always kind of thought Barstool like this. I think fans kind of think that, and maybe people at Barstool are more jealous of things than other people care to admit.
Bro,
I think-
nobody here admits it. Everybody's jealous of anybody who's bigger than them here.
But jealous.
And probably in the whole world, not just Barstool, but everybody's always like, I'm funnier than that, or I'm bigger than that, or I should be bigger than that. They should listen to me and not them.
I always thought of it, and maybe I'm in the minority, but I always thought of it as jealousy of like, I don't even think I'd ever use the word jealousy. I think I'd use it like healthy competition, where like I want to be that big, or I want to be that funny, or I want to be that, and like I want to be able to make that money or whatever. And I think of it as like a football team at practice, where you're like, yeah, I'm the second guy. I want to be the first guy. The first guy's a little bit better than me.
Yeah.
So I gotta
Yeah.
fucking work, and like,
Right.
I think that's how I always thought everyone thought here.
No,
and
no,
I
no.
think it's
You-
more
you
just
have,
like
like,
I
healthy competition.
deserve that.
You have healthy competition. They have unhealthy competition.
And it's not everyone, but there was a hullabaloo. I'm not gonna say it was everyone, but there was a good amount of people.
It's the number being very high, the subject matter, and the thought, at least, that like with football, it's like it's so very obvious. You can run faster, throw further, jump higher, hit harder. It's just, whatever. Whereas like we could turn on a mic and talk about sex too, and it's not that different, Like I said this once about like LeBron. And Stephen A. Smith is like, I can't get on a basketball court and do anything remotely close to LeBron James. I can hop on a microphone and entertain. I can't entertain like Stephen A. Smith, but the gap is a lot closer than it is to like
For sure.
for LeBron. It's the same sort of thing with Alex, where it's like, I can fucking joke about a girl choking on a dick. I guess not, though. I guess the gap is. I think that's what we're like. Again, the internet.
Well,
is
Kevin,
so
I
new.
would actually go so far as to say, I bet you joke about it better. You just don't look as
I know.
You don't deliver the message as well.
And that's part of it too. It's like, some people have God-given abilities, like on the field. She's got a God-given gift.
And maybe she honestly, I've never listened to the podcast. Maybe she jokes about it better. I'll give her credit where it's due.
But
I think the
it's
fact
a
that
combination.
I don't like seeing you talk about choking.
I don't like it either. I don't like seeing it either, my friends. I wouldn't blame you. But
No, I actually do. When I saw the clip the other day of us doing the Captain America and Batman eating pussy, I was laughing. I think it was pretty fucking funny.
The funniest shit on that whole saga, when I did the 1 Minute Man on it, it was funny. We had like the podcast was titled Batman Eating Pussy. 1 Minute Man on the YouTube was titled Batman Eating Pussy. The clip was titled Batman Eating Pussy. It was like, yesterday was just all Batman Eating Pussy on KFC Radio. And but on the 1 Minute Man, I said, Spider-Man would be great, but he's like only a teenage kid, so he doesn't know what he's doing. And Captain America would be awesome, but he's a 50-year-old man. He's a old white man from the 50s. He doesn't eat pussy. And my brother edited in old Cap when he just goes, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. It's like, he doesn't eat pussy. No, I don't think I will. But yeah, I mean, I think that's ultimately it. If Alex Cooper joked around about Batman eating pussy, I'm sure she will on her episode, and it will just get that many more downloads. And then she'll put a hoodie on that says Batman should eat pussy, and that'll sell 1 million. And like, the proof is just in the pudding. And everybody here at Barstool has some great pudding. Her pudding is way more and way fucking better. There has always been tangible proof in the form of her merch, her money, her revenue, her downloads, all of it. And you can be mad about it, but you know what? I guess, and we can go on about this forever, but I'll wrap it up. To keep with the sports comparison, I think it would be like if Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Harden, all them, like, had bad form on their shot, and it just always went in, and you're like, that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, I played the game like the right way, and she just talks about sex, but it's like, I don't know, the ball goes in, bro.
Yeah.
We score more points. So it doesn't matter how it looks or what you think of it. At the end of the day, scoreboard, and her scoreboard has always read a lot higher than everybody else's. I just never knew it was $60 million. I mean, I definitely just have a whole new. This happened with J. Cole for me. Do you know J. Cole's worth $100 million? Is that surprising to you?
I would say it's surprising, yeah.
Yeah, like I would not think. I know he's successful.
Is that surprising to you? How come? I mean, he hasn't put up many albums, right?
No, yeah, he has six.
But he went double platinum, no features on.
And everybody loves that. No, he had 6 straight
Is this close
number
enough,
1
Jackie?
studio albums, which is like never. I don't think any rapper's ever done that. All went to number 1, and I think he owns Dreamville or something like that. It's like one of those things where you own the record label and all that. But yeah, so when I heard that, I was like, it changes my whole perspective. Where it's like, I thought you were a good rapper. Now I think you're like an iconic businessman. You know what I mean? Same thing with Alex, where it was always like, yeah, this bitch is fucking good on the podcast. To being like, oh, you're a fucking entertainment icon. Like your name's in history now when they write about the internet and shit. So
and also
just
the thing,
changed
like
my whole perspective over.
The thing with people who get jealousy over it is like, well, I mean, if this is the direction podcasts are going, that's a pretty good thing.
I know that's the other thing.
If that's the fucking bag people are getting,
yeah.
then like,
yeah,
I don't know. That sounds pretty sick.
Yep. I would be.
And like, obviously in no world expect that ever. But like,
if we get a fraction of
that,
well, so I reached out to a guy we know like in the business world, and I was like, dude, how do I even get a fraction of the Alex Cooper bag? And he said, there's only one way I can think of it. And that's you guys got to turn gay. And I was like, we are so close anyway, man. We're like 65% of the way there.
Exactly.
Why not make it official? Why not make it official and just get money, bro? That would be
What if Pat gets the next one? I'll murder him.
Murder.
I'll murder him.
No, I'll murder him. No, see, now that's a guy I'd be like, I fucking built this place. The only reason you're here is because of me. I got 20% of your shit.
I'll fucking kill Pat.
We
That's
will
for
steal
sure.
Pat. If you get the
Alex
bag,
Cooper,
we're gonna
good
murder
for
you and steal your
earned
money.
it.
Yeah,
Pat,
you
I'll
did not.
fucking end your life.
I will end your gay fucking life right now.
Dude, I will commit a hate crime.
John, I can see John in cuffs and they'd be like, why'd you do it? He'd be like, because he's gay. Because he's gay and rich. That's why.
That is like, don't edit that. Don't say that. I will look on the barrel of the camera. I will become a hate crime committer if Pat gets the next bag.
Oh man, it's so. You know what kind of fucking numbers we would do if not only it's not that we were gay, it's that what if we came out? If the story was these guys have been in the closet for 10 years at Barstool and have actually been gay all along, and now we're comfortable to tell our story and we just make one up, and then we just have to start fucking each other. And like I said, we're pretty close
start
anyway,
leading
so.
breadcrumbs. Like there's that storage closet upstairs where they keep merch, but they keep a camera in it.
Yes.
We gotta take down the signs. There's a camera in here.
Yes.
Fucking there a few times.
Right.
Someone leaks that.
Well, no, you know what we need to do? We can just start out like this. We go up to that room. Me and you go up to that room, right? We wait until someone's coming down the hall, and then people see us walk out together.
Yeah.
If we walk out of a storage closet, and I'm like, oh, hey, sorry. And John's like, oh.
Oh, you're topping
Definitely. I am for sure
Listen
topping
you, little
you.
fucking twink.
I'm fucking banging you, no doubt. I'm for sure topping.
Bro, I'll fucking fist fight you in that closet and then fuck your ass.
No, see, that's why we're gonna be. That's gonna be our sexy dynamic, bro. You're the fucking not the bear. What's it called? You're not a bear, but you're like a hunk. The twink's fucking the hunk.
Yeah,
You're the twunk.
I'm a twunk.
I'm the twunk. You're a fucking hunk.
Jock would also be.
Yeah, I'm the twunk, fucking the jock. And it's gonna be like, oh, isn't that funny? He's the bigger one, but he takes it in his fucking ass from that guy. He hosts the show and fucks him. I'll be doing ad reads.
I was gonna say, well, Kevin can do ad reads, throwing cock, he does it all.
See? Spotify, you hear this? Spotify's cutting a check right now off that 2-minute segment.
You want to see Kevin's perfect fucking dickhead?
And see, I do. If you told me right now, all right, you gotta like do a podcast where you show the tip of your dick, and like, all right, here we go. For the $60 million, you can just look at my dick, man. Man, I really wonder what the domino effect is, because the amount of girls who already said, oh, I should have done this, now you see $60 million.
Right.
You know, some of these other female podcasts that we know, like, just fucking let it fly. Start talking about all of it. Like, Jesus, do whatever you got to do, man. But while I'm trying to think of a way to get in that ad read there.
Yep, that's gonna be a tough one.
Yep.
Want to talk about baseball?
But yeah, let's talk about baseball. 96% of you motherfuckers watch these videos and aren't subscribed. Shout out to the 4%. You are good people. 4% of people are watching our clips.
That's about what the I would guess the breakdown of
Good people versus bad
demographics
people.
in the world.
Yeah.
Good people versus bad people. Probably about 96% to 4.
That's
but
fair.
Be a good person.
But it's not even. I'm not even asking you to be a good person. I'm asking you to push a button.
Yeah,
I'm asking you to click a button.
you can be a bad person still, but just click
You
the
could be a
button.
piece of shit. Just click subscribe. 96% of you watch these clips and they're like, oh my God, that was a funny clip from this podcast. I liked it. And I'm just not going to help them out. The people who work to make it, the people who work to produce it, to post it, to upload it, and there's nothing from you. You're a bad person if you don't subscribe.
Be a good one.